It's HPR1, All Things Considered, and I'm Dave Lawrence. Today we've got a guy who may have been part of the soundtrack to your life when you were growing up. He has a new record out called Acoustic Classics, Peter Frampton. Aloha, Peter. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate you being back on the show.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
So what led to creating the Acoustic Classics, Peter, during this era when the album is fast sort of becoming an endangered species? Was it something that someone suggested to you, or was it an idea of your own?
I'm always looking for things to do that are different. I'd never done an all-acoustic tour or album. Both ideas sort of came at once. I noticed that various artists had redone their stuff like the original, but just to make a new master, which means the artist gets more money if they own the master themselves. But then a few people have been doing acoustic versions. I never really wanted to do it because I think I was just insecure of not having my megawatts of Marshall behind me and a Les Paul strapped on, and my band. So I started recording the Acoustic Classics. Then halfway through recording it, I went on tour with my son opening and Gordon Kennedy as my other guitar player. That was the first one in October last year. I came back to my studio in Nashville and I finished the Acoustic Classic CD in about 3 days.
When you reference having the Marshall stack behind you and the kind of sound I guess you've been used to for so many years, it's funny. The other night I needed to go to the corner convenience store and the PA music in the store had the live version of Do You Feel? The long version with the talkbox and everything. And it reminded me how much a part of pop culture that remains if you're really underappreciated as a guitar player. If you can talk about how many takes, tracks, other background details it took in laying stuff down, particularly the version of Do You Feel, which is just mesmerizing.
Oh, thank you very much. The first couple I decided that I would try, probably All I Want to Be or Show Me the Way or something. I did a couple, came into the control room and then listened back. And I just felt that it wasn't the performance I was looking for. I was performing like I was playing with the band. 40 years on from when they were written and first recorded, they've changed. They morph into something else. That's not what I wanted. I wanted as if I said, Dave, come over, have a coffee. I wrote this song last night and I want to try it out on you. Would you like to hear it? And hopefully you would say yes. And then I could play you this song that I wrote the night before. Well, that performance you would get would be a very emotional one because it's fresh out of the egg. Mm-hmm. And it would also be a very one-on-one, intimate performance of that song. And that's what I realized I had to get back to. The reason that I put Fig Tree Bay as the first track was it's not a well-known track, but it is the very first track on my first solo record, but electric, Wind of Change album. And I knew exactly what guitar I wrote that on and everything, my Epiphone, Texan. The reason I recorded this song is because I loved the way it sounded on acoustic, but then we turned it into electric. So when I finally picked my guitar up and did that one, it just felt so natural. And I remember where I was in the Mediterranean writing that song on the beach in Cyprus, actually. I took all the songs back to when I'd first written them. And when it comes to Do You Feel, I had left that one till the very last because I didn't really think that I was going to be able to do that one because it's the least acoustic song
right.
that I have in the act, It was written on an electric. It came out of a jam from a rehearsal. In the end, I decided I would go out and just try the intro with two guitars instead of guitar and keyboard. That that bit. And when I put the second guitar on, I came in the control room and just started smiling because I said, it's so different, I think it works. Obviously chopped it down. There was no talk box in those days. So that's the only track that I added a bass guitar, but it's an acoustic bass. There's no effects. It's bare bones. It's just mics and guitars and voice. I just allowed myself some latitude in doing the rhythm guitar and then being able to put an acoustic lead part over the top. Because without that, that's, you only get half of me, if you know what I mean.
No, totally. I'm in you. There's a few of them. Lines on My Face. They're very emotional. Were you picking things based on also how much emotional power they have in your own life?
Yeah, I think that Lines on My Face has always been a very powerful song for me. I don't feel right if I don't play that one live. A song that I wrote from a breakup of a relationship. Everyone's been through that, so I think it's just one of those songs that, especially acoustically, draws you in because there's just acoustic guitar and the voice. So you're listening to the words.
Thinking about acoustic stuff, and since this is the home of the ukulele, can you tell us the story of the very young Peter Frampton finding Grandmom's banjo-lele, and how you recall that critical discovery when you frame it through the career that you've been so fortunate to have?
And you could say that again. Thank you. Yes, I went up to the attic with my dad. I was 7, so it would have been 1957. We were going up to get the suitcases down for our summer holiday coming up, driving down to Devon somewhere in the West Country in England. While we were getting the suitcases down, I found this little tiny case, and I said, Dad, what's this? And he said, oh, your grandmother gave me that just in case one day you ever wanted to learn how to play. He showed me 2 or 3 songs. She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain When She Comes, that one. Michael Row the Boat. And my favorite of the day was Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley. And so I learned those 3. My dad played a little bit of guitar and also knew how to play ukulele, banjolele. I picked it up really quickly, wanted a guitar. That was it. For my hands at that point, being 7, the banjolele was perfect size. But I was growing into rock and roll music. Michael Row the Boat wasn't doing it for me anymore. So I asked for Santa to bring me a guitar when I was 8, 1958. I got my first guitar, and on the radio then was a plethora of American music. Elvis, Buddy Holly, Eddie Cochran, Gene Vincent, all the greats. And slightly before that, Fats Domino, and a lot of guitarists, though, that I listened to. I like the guitar players that actually wrote their own songs and played their own guitars, like Buddy Holly and Eddie Cochran. Those were my 2 American favorites.
And this is all before Bromley Technical School and your first band, the Little Ravens?
Yes, it is. That didn't happen until
12 years old, David Bowie on board, too?
Yes. We needed a drummer. The headline band needed a bass player, so we swapped. But the headline band was George and the Dragons was the name of the band because it was George Underwood's band. But George was best friends with the other singer in the band, who was David Jones, better known as David Bowie. My dad produced the end-of-term concert, as it were. He was like the Bill Graham of England, or Bill Graham of the school. So, yes, that's where I got to meet David and George, and the 3 of us would bring our guitars to school. And from when I was 12, I'd known David, and for the rest of his life, I've been friends with David and George and I have been speaking a lot recently, obviously. I've known both Dave and George for many, many years.
You must feel really, really grateful every single day you wake up.
My motto is, and I hope it will be my meditation word, is gratitude, that's for sure. Because as much as I've been given, I've definitely had my share of not doing the right thing at certain times, as we all do in life. We all make mistakes. As you get a little older, you realize how grateful you are. I do anyway, for still being here. It's been an awful, awful year. So we've lost so many people. But I guess we're getting to that age, the baby boomers, where even though some of these, like Prince was 57, that's not right. He's not even halfway through, so it's just very, very sad.
I can imagine. You've been through that at different points in your life. And as you said, life isn't always perfect. You faced a lot of different challenges, but it's your resilience and it's also the incredible early beginning that you got. And like I said, you're such a ferocious guitar player. People love your songs, but you also have that great playing.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. And you do it so well on this album. It just shows without any tricks, you can just pull it off. It's a real testament. Acoustic Classics is a great example of what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
It's the legendary Peter Frampton. Really enjoy getting to catch up with you. God bless you, brother. Keep being safe.
It's good to speak to you again. Aloha, it's Peter Frampton here. I just want to tell you we're in a great place with Dave Lawrence. That's what I have on in my car. It's the only sane radio out there.